In this video, I'm going to give you a bulletproof $100 strategy for DRAFTKINGS MMA. This is going to make you more profitable right away, and it's going to make you a better player in the long term. You can call me Kunith. Let's make some money this week. We're going to cover 5 things here. These are common mistakes that people make, the strategy itself, why we use the strategy, I'll give you a real life example of this at work, and what to do once you start winning money when you're betting this way. And the goal of this is to bring you information and strategy so that you can start winning more consistently and building up bigger bankrolls in the process. Now the first thing is common mistakes, and right at the top of the list of common mistakes are too many deposits. Most people deposit money into DraftKings every time they want to play, and if this is you, you'll need to listen up. You should not be making a new deposit every time you're looking to play. If this is the case, you're probably on the cycle that most players are on. You deposit money, enter it all into these big tournaments, you either lose completely or make back less than what you put in, and you find yourself doing the same exact thing the following week. But this cycle, depositing money over and over again, is just reckless. And I bet if I asked you about your playstyle, the last thing you would probably tell me is that you're reckless. But this describes most people who play. The second common mistake that people make are just building bad lineups. And if you're struggling to build strong lineups each week, hit the link in the description under Build Better Lineups. That's going to take you to a video where I talk about how we can use DraftKings scoring metrics to build better lineups. I also have videos on this channel each week breaking down the fight cards and giving you my picks, so if you haven't already, subscribe and make sure you hit the notification so you get that fresh drop. And the third mistake, and this is the biggest of them all, is contest selection. The bigger the field, the harder it is to win. The tournaments with the big prizes like you see here, 100K to first, or the 20 max $3 contest, these are attractive, but they're not in line with the goal of this strategy. You want to avoid contests like this that have tens of thousands of people in them. We've had subscribers on this channel take down a competition like this and some that have placed highly in competitions like this, but it's extremely rare. You want to do your best to find contests with less than 3,000 people, and obviously the smaller the field from that point, the better. Which brings us to point number 2, which is the strategy itself. Now when you open the DraftKings lobby for MMA, this is the first thing that you're going to see. What I'd like for you to do is filter these down to tournaments, and then you're going to go up to here and you're going to type in the word single. You're going to want to enter these 3 contests down here, the $12, the $5, and the $1. You'll notice that there's only 1,100, 1,700, and 2,400 players in these contests. Much better odds than the 31,000 that we were up against in the big contest just a moment ago. And since the contest is $12, plus another 5 is $17, plus another $1, that's $18 total. Next, you're going to go up to this bar and you're going to type 3 entry. And you're going to see that $4 3 max there, and that's going to total $12. Now you're going to come back up to this bar, and if you just type in 2 here, you're going to see the $2 guillotine right down here. Now this is a contest you can enter up to 20 times, but for this strategy, I'm going to tell you to enter 10 lineups for a total of $20. So far, you're in 5 different contests with 16 total lineups. These entries total $50, but they have upside of over $4,000 of potential winnings. But then what you're going to want to do is look for the 50-50s and the double ups. I like the $5 contests typically. And for games that pay out half of the field, like the 50-50s and the double ups, I actually like looking for bigger field sizes if I can. It just seems easier to build a lineup that can show up in the top 50% of these contests when there are more players. And if you're building your lineups correctly, you should be cashing consistently in these games. Which brings me to my next point, and that's our third point. Why do we do it this way? Well, it's simple. If you win your tournaments, great. You're already building up a bankroll. You can even take some of that money out for yourself. But if your tournament lineups lose and you still win in your cash games, then you'll be left with the $100 that you started with. And this helps to eliminate those common mistakes. You won't continuously be depositing money into your DraftKings account because your cash games will offset what you're putting into tournaments, which means fewer deposits. You're also entering contests with much better odds than the big 100K to first or the $3 20 max with over 10,000 players. And a real life example of this happened just last week. My girlfriend decided to play and she used the $100 strategy that we're talking about now. Her tournament lineups did not do well. Of the $50 that she put in, she only actually got about $10 from that because she cashed in one of her lineups. But of course, the cash game lineup came through, and at the end of the night, her balance was $110, more than what she started with. And to me, this is a perfect example of how effective the strategy can be. Doing poorly in your tournaments doesn't mean you need to end the night at 0 in your account. Again, most people load up their account, they play in these tournaments, they lose, and they repeat the process over and over again. You don't need to do that with this strategy. You should only be depositing once. Now, what if it went the other way and she also won more in her tournaments? That brings us to our fifth point, what to do once you start winning. Let's say you implement this strategy and you end the night with $400 in your account. So your cash game lineup hits for $100, and then your tournaments give you another $300. What I would recommend the following week is I would suggest leaving $100 in the account untouched and taking the remaining $300 and splitting it 50-50 with tournaments and cash games. And now that you have a little bit more to throw into these tournaments, the $40 single entry is really good. The $100 single entry is even better. And as you're growing your account and building your bankroll, you'll be able to take stabs at these larger contests that have smaller fields, decent prizes, and are much easier to win. And keep in mind, I just say $100 because it sounds good. It doesn't need to be $100. If that's too much, you can scale it back and still make it work. And if that's too little, you can bump these numbers up and play in bigger stakes contests. The point of this is to apply this logic to your process no matter what your starting bankroll is. So a few things: stop making new deposits every week, stop playing in these massive contests, look for smaller field tournaments, preferably single entry, and use cash games to offset what you're putting into tournaments. For tips, picks, and strategy just like this, subscribe to the channel and please like the video if you've gotten anything from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next video.